Today I want to talk to you about something most runners never even think about when picking out a shoe. It's not cushioning, it's not color, it's not drop, it's not even brand. It's this. Twist. The fancy phrase is torsional rigidity. Blech. All that really means is how much does the shoe allow the front of your foot and the back of your foot to move. And it's really important because getting this wrong can be the difference between pain or performance. Hi, I'm Dr. Lynne Virant, owner and physical therapist at The Movement Clinic in Pensacola, Florida, serving you in person and online. When you run, your foot doesn't move as one unit. The heel and the forefoot move relative to each other. That's how the arch loads and unloads so that you can absorb your body landing and push off. That's that twisting motion. We're actually going to call it rotational stiffness, so that way we don't get tongue-tied. So a shoe that has quite a bit of movement as you twist it would be called low rotational stiffness, meaning it twists and gives with your foot. Now a shoe that does not move that much, as you can see with this shoe here, when I try to twist it, there's a lot more resistance. We can call that high rotational stiffness. And then you take a shoe that has a plate in the bottom of it. If I try to twist it, then you'll notice that is even higher rotational stiffness. Others are built soft or more flexible. None of those are universally good or bad. The big question is, what does your foot need? Let's talk what's actually happening at the foot and ankle with each step. So most of you have heard of pronation, and that's when the arch rotates inward. But a lot of other things are happening. First, your ankle bends. As I said, the arch pronates, and that allows your feet to spread out. That happens with every step, and it's totally normal. Now, with all that twisting, you build up some tension. That tension, as you land, helps you to create some stiffness so that you can push off. So those are the normal things that are supposed to happen with each step. Now, a shoe's torsional rigidity or rotational stiffness can enhance that or can interfere with it. So here's where shoe selection gets really interesting. If you have a highly mobile foot, i.e. a low arch, a lot of pronation in your midfoot, wearing a shoe that also has a lot of mobility doesn't give you a lot of stability. So when you go to push off, it really feels weak. That could lead to things like tendonitis, pain in the front of your foot, all these things because your foot doesn't feel stable. Now in a shoe like that, you might benefit from having an insole in that foot that gives your arch a little bit more feedback so that you don't collapse into the ground. That calls for a lot more in-depth discussion, so I'm going to cover insoles in the next video. If you have a stiffer or a high arch foot, wearing a shoe with a lot more stiffness actually prevents your foot from moving. So when you go to land, you tend to not absorb that force through your arch. So a lot of times when I see people like this, they feel a lot of pain, especially on the outside of their foot or even on the outside of their ankle or their knee. And so folks like this need a more flexible shoe, kind of like the shoe here, so that when your foot hits the ground, you kind of land and let your foot pronate inward, and it doesn't push you to where you feel you're always rotating on the outside of your shoe. So what if you don't fall on either highly flexible foot or the high stiff foot? You're kind of in the middle. Well, that's great because that means you have a lot more options. And so probably the twist in the shoe is not something for you to consider, and you might consider some other factors as well. So how do you actually assess this? One, really simply, go grab one of your shoes, grab the heel with one hand and the forefoot with the opposite hand, and just start twisting it. And then start twisting it in opposite directions, right? So you'll find that some shoes are really flexible, and you'll find some shoes are pretty stiff. It just depends on what you need. Now do this with shoes that you're thinking about and compare them to what you know about your foot. If you have a foot where you tend to overpronate and really flexible, and all your shoes twist like a dish rag, you might consider another shoe. On the other hand, if you have a really rigid foot, and your shoes don't move at all, or you have a plate in your shoe, again, something to consider is maybe opting for something that's a little bit more flexible. The key is there's no one perfect shoe. It's actually a good sign of a healthy foot if you can walk or run in a variety of shoes. And no, I didn't get paid by the running shirts to tell you that. However, this is a good opportunity to explore what it would take for you to have a healthier foot for walking and running. Shoe selection is never about one variable. Cushion, drop, fit, stack height, all of those matter, but especially rotational stiffness as a factor in how you can improve your movement and your running and walking. The twist won't tell you everything, but it's a fast and free filter, and it's a smarter starting point than just picking something off their clearance rack or asking your friends what shoes they use. So if you want to understand how to select the best shoe for your specific foot mechanics, well, that's exactly what an online run screen is designed to do. And if you've made it this far, then you care enough to stop guessing and start working with somebody who's a specialist to help you figure that out. And that's exactly what I offer through my online run screen. So check the link below and let's figure out what's the right shoe for you.